I'm Miss Lynn, and I'm a docent at the Skagit County Historical Museum and a workshop instructor. I'm here today to show you some artifacts from the museum, artifacts being something special and something old. Most of the things I show you today were used approximately 100 years ago, and I'm going to use my gloves. When you handle artifacts, the oils from your fingers can get on them and damage them. So we always wear gloves to handle our artifacts. These are artifacts that children and people would have worn in those days. A bonnet, Mom would have always had a bonnet. And an apron. Mom would have always had an apron. Now, this looks like a little girl's dress. And this looks like a little girl's dress. But they are actually little boys' dresses, as they were dressed in those days. This is a little boy, and this is a little boy. And then as they got a little bigger, they'd grow into little jumpers like this. Of course, with a button back, and little boots to go with it, and a hat. Everybody wore hats. And someone had to make all of these by hand. Everything was made by hand. Collars, very fine needlework, the socks and the sweaters, and their scarves, Mom and the girls all made by hand. Your blankets were all made by hand. Mostly a girl's job. And the boys had their job too. They would be chopping wood, hauling water, because those were not things you had in your home. And they were very divided jobs. Even the rugs were made by hand. Did they have vacuum cleaners? Nope. So this is what they used to clean their rugs. They take them outside and paint them, and then bring them back inside. Toys, most toys were made by hand. Dolls, wooden toys, but some toys were made of steel later on. Very sturdy, lasted 100 years. A lot of your grains came in bags like this burlap bag. Now once these burlap bags were used, they were also used for clothing and other household items. And you can see from this picture, a man emptying a burlap bag with seed or grain. When they filled them, one guy would fill and one guy would stitch the bag closed right across the top. So many of your clothes in those days would be made out of sacks that your food came in. This sack would have been filled with flour. But it's soft, nice material. And you could make anything from skirts to aprons to underclothes out of that. So a lot of time was spent in managing your clothes, your blankets, and this would be laundry day. Laundry day lasted all day. Mom would fill a great big pot of water. Boys would be going down to get the wood, and it would be an all-day process. Nowadays, you could throw a whole armload of stuff into your washer. This was piece by piece. Wash it, run it through the wringer. We worked on this. And each piece had to be washed, run through this, rinsed, run through this again, and ultimately put on a clothesline. Not so easy as it is today. And at that point, there's many things that Mom would have to iron. I didn't even know if you all know what an iron is anymore, but this would go on the stove to heat up to take the wrinkles out of your clothing. Moving on to the kitchen, many things look the same. Pretty close to some people's coffee pots. This is a small version of the milk from the cow, because you would be raising all of these things on your property at home. Vegetable garden, fruit trees, cow for milk, chickens for eggs, and most everything else you'd have to go to a dry goods store to get. Mom has an electric mixer. This would have been your hand mixer. And again, some things look exactly the same as they do today.